What's going on, YouTube? Alright, Junk Log Vlog number 6. Been a while, I know, but this is a request of a bunch of people who wanted to know what's going on with the junk removal business, whether or not they should start one. So, my answer, should you start a junk removal business? Hell yes. In Kingston? No, please don't. Anyway, so he asked me a bunch of questions, and these are the replies to those questions. Would you suggest starting a junk removal company? Yes. What if I don't get jobs? Well, that's why I would suggest, instead of buying a great big truck and spending $15,000, $20,000 in a dump truck and everything else, I would suggest you just buy yourself a half-ton truck like mine with it. This is really important. Make sure the truck has an 8-foot bed. Do not buy a truck with anything smaller unless you're going to put a fifth wheel hitch in it and carry or tow a great big trailer. Do not buy a truck with less than an 8-foot truck bed. It's a horrible idea unless you're going to tow your trailer and use the trailer specifically for junk. All right. So what if I don't get jobs? Well, that's why you'd probably want to start out with a half-ton truck and just go from there. Don't use this initially as your main source of income. Make sure you've got money coming in. So, that way you're not spending, grocery money or dog treat money to cover the bills. I mean, you don't want to be struggling starting this business. Now, if you got the money in the budget, go all in. Go for it. I absolutely would if I was you, but I wouldn't go all in. I would go in with a good truck and hopefully one or two good employees that you can rely on to take care of things and go from there. All right, so how do you find employees and how do you make them stay? Well, first and foremost, treat them with respect. Treat them better than you're treated yourself anywhere you go, okay? Treat them with respect. Be honest with them. Don't lie to them. And do not, for the love of God, do not nickel and dime your people. If it means you're not going to make anything that month, but your employee's going to do pretty well, then do it. I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive to running a business, but if you don't want to have problems with your HR problems every month, replacing a new employee because you're just so cheap, you're just not willing to pay them reasonable, and you want to spend the next 3 or 4 years looking for that one person who's willing to put up with your bullshit for minimum wage, be my guest. But you pay your people really well. You make it known that you're paying them well compared to what you would normally pay someone scrubbing the mop or mopping a floor, and treat them with respect. It's simple as that. Okay, what if jobs, how do you make them stay? And what if jobs are not enough to make them stay? Well, that's why I would probably suggest either a retiree or somebody in a relationship where their spouse is already earning the money for the house. And they don't necessarily need the money, but anything extra that comes in is a bonus. In my case, I had hired a wonderful woman, named Lincoln, who is in a relationship now. Unfortunately, she just lost her full-time job, so I'm scrambling now to put up even more advertising and start putting in more jobs, so that way when the rigs call, she's going to have enough money or enough business, hopefully, by the time I leave, to make a decent living out of this. But we'll see. All right, what was the other question? How do you find someone who will work only for the jobs you get? Well, that goes back to making sure the person you hire could use the money but doesn't necessarily need the money to pay the bills. I would suggest maybe a retiree or somebody who I hired who could use the money but doesn't necessarily need the money to pay the rent. What else can I do with a truck with 4-foot rails and a dump trailer? Well, you could do a whole shitload of things. You could do anything from hot shotting, and look that up on YouTube. There are really a whole ton of great channels on hot shotting. You'd need to carry several different types of commercial liability that could be really expensive depending on you know, who your insurance provider is and what your driving record's like. But if you got a great driving record and you got a good relationship with your insurance broker and they offer commercial insurance, it could be a great option for you. Couple examples would be landscaping deliveries for gravel, landscaping deliveries for soil, sand, backfill, those sorts of things. You can easily, I'm not going to tell you how to go about getting those jobs, but there's much, much better channels on hotshotting and delivery of landscaping items. There's way better channels for that. I'm not going to get into that. That's not what I do. So look that up, hotshotting and commercial delivery of large items for landscaping companies. Okay, what if you don't get jobs? Well, that goes back to starting out with a half-ton truck. If you're starting out with a half-ton truck and you're doing this more or less as a hobby, you don't really have anything to lose. And it kind of shows when you're dealing with your customers, because you're going to treat them well, but at the same point, you're not going to be like, well, okay, I'll do that job for $5. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm on my way now to go do a job, and I told that customer last night, because he was trying to haggle the price. I think he said later on he wasn't trying to haggle, but he clearly was. I told him, ordinarily my prices are set. They're non-negotiable. This isn't a barter game, but I'll give you $10 off this job. If you want to go ahead with it, times are tough, and he's called 3 or 4 times. So I just give him $10 off, not because I need the money, but during this shit, everyone's in a tough spot. So I just thought I'd give him $10 off just because. I don't recommend you really do that. During this COVID crap, I'm doing a whole bunch of decent things out there to play my part as a decent human being in a company, and a morally responsible company. I have an ad going right now locally to deliver and pick up people's groceries from food banks and deliver them to senior citizens in Kingston. So if you know anybody in Kingston area who's homebound or stuck at home and can't go pick up their food bank delivery, I'd be happy to help. You can look me up and I'll be happy to get somebody, either myself or Lincoln, to go out there and pick that stuff up for you and deliver it to your house free of charge, no cost, okay? Just trying to help out the community as best I can. And I'll keep doing it until I don't have any more money to help with, okay? So if you're in Kingston area and you've got some stuff at the food bank that you can't reach or you can't get, I'll be happy to go pick it up and drop it off for you. So I think that was all the questions. Would you suggest starting a junk removal company? Hell yes. What if I don't get jobs? Well, that's why you start out small. How do you find employees? I don't recommend you hire family unless you got a outgoing 17-year-old, 16-year-old who wants to know what it's like to be in daddy's business and wants to take part in that. The reason why I say that is because if things go badly, that could reflect on your company. So I would suggest... Come here, Boots. Well, I was so rudely interrupted. I would suggest you hire retirees or somebody who doesn't necessarily need the money but could use some spare, so a little bit extra. And it's really important that they're good with people, man. The person I hired, for instance, her first 2 customers I sent her to, both of those customers went out of the way to not only email me and tell me how incredible she did, but called and left voice messages and later on called me on the phone to tell me how incredible she was. So when you find somebody like that, Lincoln, do whatever it takes to hold on to them. Okay? So I'd recommend, what do you do to keep your employees from job basis? Hire somebody who doesn't necessarily need the money to pay the rent. Hire somebody who's incredible with people, who's kind, who's sweet, reliable, and trustworthy. If you can find somebody, and then I know that's really difficult, with all those attributes, man, you are golden. And I would suggest, if they prove themselves, eventually cutting them into a share of the business, because you're not going to find employees like that very often. And looking for an employee like that could take you 5-10 years. I mean, and by that time you could be still a hobby business. So if you want to grow your business, at least this specific business, from just an occasional hobby to beer money to an ongoing commercial and residential interest, then I would suggest pay your people really well. Find people you can rely on. Treat them with respect. And I don't think you're going to have any problems. It's a pretty simple business to run. There's a little bit of paperwork involved in getting it going, but I already made a video all about that, so I'm not going to rehash that. But anyway, I think that's it for today. Junk removal vlog number 6. Boots, come here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, please. It really helps the YouTube algorithm. I am 3/4 of the way to YouTube partner, which means I'm going to get a monthly check from Google. And I just want to thank every single one of you who watch my videos. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Boots loves it too, because he gets extra donuts every time we do really well on a video, right? That puppy. That puppy. Is that puppy? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.